Hi everyone, it's Marieta. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I want to give you the overview of Biden's immigration plan when it comes to H1B visas, and I'm also going to briefly touch on H2B, and I'm also going to give you plan B, what to do if you cannot find H1B visa sponsor, and I'm going to be sharing something very, very special with you during this video, so you definitely want to stick around till the end. Coming up. Alright guys, so like I said, let's make it happen. I do want to focus on H1B first, and then I want to focus on H2B visas. So let's get started with H1B. So the Biden's proposed immigration plan is following. He wants to create reform within the temporary visa system when it comes to H1B temporary visas, and here's what he's proposing. High-skilled temporary visas should not be used to disincentivize recruiting workers already in the US for demand occupation. An immigration system that crowds out high-skilled workers in favor of only entry-level wage skills threatens American innovation and competitiveness. Biden will work with Congress to first reform temporary visas to establish wage-based allocation process and establish enforcement mechanism to ensure that they are aligned with the labor market and not used to undermine wages. Then Biden will support expanding the number of high-skill visas and eliminating the limits on the employment-based visas by country, which create unacceptably long backlogs. So what we are talking about here is that he does plan to create a shift and change within the wage-based allocation system. Right now, what has been going on is the random lottery selection of H1B visa applicants, right? And what he's preparing to do is obviously make a shift and establish the wage-based allocation process. However, he wants to ensure that, like I said here, the system is fair, right? So American system that crowds out high-skilled workers in favor of only entry-level wages and skills threatens American innovation and competitiveness. So you already probably heard this. The new rule recently proposed, which I'm going to read here for you, is talking about the wage-based system. And under this proposed rule, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services will prioritize the selection of cases based on highest wage levels, right? Which is kind of crazy because we're talking about the level 4 and moving downward, and cases that use private wage surveys rather than occupational employment statistics wages would be classified as level 1 or below. So the bottom line here is that it's going to be, based on this rule, it's going to be very challenging, right, to actually hire the foreign workers for U.S. employers, because they won't be simply able to afford to pay these super high level wages. And what is Biden proposing is to create a fair system where certainly immigration system that is based on the wage-based allocation process, but it's not just favoring the high-skilled workers, right? As you can see here, what he is saying is that this preference of high-skilled workers in favor of entry-level wages and skills is actually threatening American innovation and competitiveness. Why? Because simply put, the US employers cannot afford to pay these super high fees. And if, let's suppose, there is a worker level 1, wage level 1, who is super smart and is clearly innovative, these US employer won't be able to hire them because they can't simply afford it. And so giving a preference only to high skill workers with these high level wages is just simply threatening the American innovation and competitiveness, right? So he's talking about changing this H1B category and establishing this sort of fair wage-based allocation process and establish enforcement mechanism to ensure that they are aligned with the labor market and not used to undermine wages, okay? Also, he wants to support expanding number of high-skill visas and eliminating the limits on employment-based visas by country. As you know, right now there is a limit, there is a cap cap of 85,000 H1B visas right now. But also, if you want to change from H1B and you want to go to a green card, there is a limit, there is a cap. So here is additional information. I'm just going to find it here for you when it comes to these green cards, right? So he wants to increase the number of visas offered for permanent work-based immigration based on macroeconomic conditions. Currently, the number of employment-based visas is capped at 140,000 a year without the ability to be responsive to the state of the labor market or demands from domestic employers. Biden will work with Congress to increase the number of visas awarded for permanent employment-based immigration and promote mechanisms to temporarily reduce the number of visas during times of high unemployment. Now, especially if you are in STEM, you will be exempt from the cap, because he really thinks that you guys are contributing the most to the world economy. So it wouldn't be logical to basically not allow you to stay in US and give you a green card. So in other words, he's going to be giving a preference to STEM field. So if you have a PhD and you are within STEM field, you will, based on his plan, get a green card right away. So that's a good news. Now, when it comes to H2B, I do want to touch on H2B very quickly. Here it goes. He wants to create a reform within the temporary workers in selected industries. Collection of industries depend on seasonal workers. So we're talking about the H2B visa category, or workers who only seek to be in the US for a short period of time, right? The current system for accommodating these workers is cumbersome, bureaucratic, and inflexible, driving up incentives to circumvent this system by hiring undocumented laborers and allowing the employers who control the visa to pay artificially low wages. Biden will work with Congress to reform the current system of temporary work visas and allow workers in these select industries to switch jobs while certifying the labor market's need for foreign workers. Employers should be able to supply data showing a lack of labor availability and the harm that would result in temporary workers were unavailable. This flexibility, coupled with strong safeguards that require employers to pay fair calculation of the prevailing wage and ensure the right of all workers to join a union and exercise their labor rights, will help meet the needs of domestic employers, sustain higher wages for American workers and foreign workers alike, and so on. So guys, this is also good news for H2B category. Now, I want to talk about, again, H1B. What if, because we don't know exactly how this is going to look like, this is just the general information. He is talking about changing the lottery-based system to wage-based allocation process and establish enforcement mechanism, right? And he also is talking about expanding the number of high-skill visas. So possibly it could be more than 85,000 a year, right? We don't know the number yet. We don't know how it's going to exactly look like. But he does want to eliminate eventually the backlogs when it comes to these green cards, as I already mentioned, especially when you are in STEM field. Now, what if you cannot find the H1B visa? Then what? What can you do if you cannot find H1B visa? So I do want to give you actually, I do want to talk about something that, in my opinion, is a wonderful opportunity, especially for those who want to start their own business, because that is exactly what I did. So let's talk about it coming up. Alright guys, so I really hope that you enjoy that explanation. Now, I do want to talk about what to do if you cannot find your H1B visa sponsor. In fact, I want to give you a little backstory here, my personal story. As an immigrant, after I graduated law school in the United States, I was looking for H1B visa sponsor, and back then it was 2010. The market was full of unemployed lawyers. I could not secure a position. I could not find H1B visa sponsor, simply because I was basically competing with other immigration attorneys who didn't really need a visa. So I was facing with a similar challenge if you cannot find a H1B visa sponsor. And here is what I did. I actually reinvented myself in a way that I decided to start my business. I decided to start ImmigrationBiz to help you guys, and also eventually I got myself under E2 investor visa status. So looking back, I can tell you it was the best decision ever, because I control my future, I control my life. And there are different ways how you can go to a green card if you are on E2 visa. I'm going to be linking a video here for you. So let's talk about a little overview of E2 visa. What is the requirement, the main requirement for E2 visa if you're starting your business, if you're starting your company as a young immigrant entrepreneur? You need to invest substantial amount of capital. And here comes the deal. Many of you guys don't have the money, which I totally understand. I didn't have the money myself. Like, I was broke, in fact, in large debt because of the law school in the United States that I was financing from a loan. So I totally get it. And if you don't have any funds, I have something quite extraordinary for you, which is gonna blow your mind. Coming up. Still provides financial services to immigrants just like you guys who are in the US. If you don't have social security number, you're looking for a loan, you can definitely apply for a loan in 3 simple ways, especially when you're starting your business, you need funding. Definitely this is company to go for you. Also, they have helped other 10,000 immigrants like yourself to get a loan. So if you want to learn more, I'm going to be linking special link below in description. And this link will provide special rates for you to apply. All right, so if you watch this short video, you understand that you don't need to invest your own money, and in fact you can actually get a loan, you can get the funding. And if you cannot find the funding somewhere else, you can use this company that I highly recommend, because when I realized the company exists and it's basically created by immigrants, I was like, wow, I wish it was there when I started. I wish that this company existed when I was first starting my business, because the truth is, when you want to get a loan, it's difficult to get a loan if you don't know anybody in the United States, if you don't have the credit, if you don't have the history, if you don't have any bank account in the United States, I'm talking corporate bank account, nobody's gonna give you a loan, right? Nobody's gonna just throw the money at you, especially if you're an immigrant without any credit history, right? So in that case, this company is definitely worth checking out, and below in the link description is going to be a link that's gonna actually give you a discount. So if you guys are interested, definitely check it out. But let's go back to E2 visa. So what can you do if you are in this situation of somebody who is in the US, who don't want to go back to your country, you have the degree, you want to start a business? I'm going to be linking a free webinar training below this video for aspiring E2 visa investors. So if that's you, definitely check it out. And I'm also going to give you a case study, actually my case study, how I skipped H1B and decided to go with E2, because this is going to help you open up your eyes and you will understand what are your options. So guys, if you like this video, do like it, share it with people who might need this information, and also make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that bell notification button so you're notified every time I release new content, and stay tuned for my upcoming videos. Thanks a lot for tuning in. See you soon.